Hello, everyone. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life. And today we've got a really interesting guest here, Anthony Constantino, who he's a stand-up comedian. He's a boxer. He's the CEO of Sticker Mule in Amsterdam. And now he's running for political office. So I want to take us through, your whole journey here, Anthony. So welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, Dave.
All right. So anyway, tell me a little bit about growing up, just where you grew up and that kind of journey.
Yeah, I grew up in Amsterdam, New York. I've had a house in Amsterdam, New York, and a town called Edinburgh. I actually have multiple homes in the district. I'd be the only one I got. I don't even know how many. 4 now.
4?
But, yeah.
Right. That's where you live now, though, right? It's long Saginaw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. 4 different. So, but anyway, I grew up there. Ended up going to a school called Albany Academy. My mom didn't trust me to behave myself in the public school system, so she sent me to a school named Albany Academy where Elise Stefanik also went. She was a little younger than me. And so went there, ended up going to RPI after that. Had a great time there. My story after that is a long one, so I try not to tell. I try to figure out how to tell it quickly, and I haven't told it in a long time. But, my dad started a company long ago. We passed away when I was 8 years old. And so when I graduated from college, I woke up to found that company in disarray. Actually, they called me while I was in college, and they said we were in a bankruptcy type situation.
And that was Noteworthy, right?
Yeah, it was a company called Noteworthy. Yeah. And I spent my sophomore summer of school. I called back the prior management and asked them if they would help me restructure the company, fix the situation. So we were in a bankruptcy situation. Then the prior manager came back, and as a favor to me, we worked and fixed it. And then I went back to college and went to school, and they said, "What'd you do your summer?" I said, "I went through a bankruptcy situation, restructuring." They said, "Sure you did." Nobody believed me. But,
right.
That's what I did in my sophomore year of college, and then got out of school. And the company still was having issues. Actually, the issue we had when I got out of school was one of our biggest competitors also had gone bankrupt, and we were inundated with orders. And the person we selected to run the company couldn't handle the volume. He didn't really know how to figure it out. And so I had to let him go, and I basically became the vice president of operations. Whatever they call. I never was a title guy. So
right.
My co-founder said, "Anthony, whoever makes the decisions is the person in charge." So I just started making all the decisions, and got through an interesting period. But I went through something called the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah, we know it well.
That was very difficult, and so went through something called that. That was a not fun situation. Had to navigate that. I was still in my 20s. Came out of that. Had finally stabilized the company, but I was not the owner. That was like one of the ownership structure of that company was multiple people involved in the ownership of the company. So I just wanted to be my own boss. I had my own ideas about how I wanted to do things. Technically, I made all the decisions there, but I wasn't technically allowed. I technically wasn't the. I didn't have the absolute power. So I thought, I had my ideas and I'd do things. I called my the guy.
Well, did you have an interest in business prior to taking over your dad's company, or?
I had a good relationship with the employees, and I grew up with them, and I liked working in the factory when I was a kid. So I had a good relationship with the employees. No, I mean, believe it or not, like I said, everything I've done in life is sort of done out of necessity. So when you wake up and you're used to life being decent, because of you grow up with a family company. I just got involved with a sense of obligation to the people there. My true passion, which I got to do later in life, was boxing and stuff like that. And so I got to have a little bit of fun.
So you grew up wanting to be a boxer?
I grew up wanting to do something athletic related. I had more interest in sports, whether sports trainer or something. I was more interested in sports, to be honest with you. That was the only thing I was good at for quite a while. It was the first thing I was good at was sports. And so... yeah, it's another story, but I don't know how long you got. But,
we'll move quickly to the good stuff.
Yeah, one of the first really big podcasts I did was a podcast called Wrestling Saved My Life. A lot of really famous wrestlers have been on that podcast.
Really?
I think I was the least successful wrestler to ever go on that podcast, but maybe the only CEO wrestler. But
you had what, 4 wins?
No, so that's in the world of boxing. I have 4 straight knockouts, but I wasn't really a natural student. The first thing I ever became good at was high school wrestling, and so I ended up becoming second to reach in high school wrestling. But I had the fastest ascendancy to actually becoming good. So I tell people I had the record for most loss. I mean, I lost my first 30 matches in under 2 minutes, so I was a terrible wrestler for 2 years of my life.
Jeez.
Nobody was worse than me. My first year of wrestling, I lost every single match in under a minute, which is really hard to do. You basically just go
well,
out.
I might be able to do that. I could match you there.
Yeah, so I did really badly, and then my senior year we got a coach, and he said, you need to start putting goals down. He said, put goals down on a piece of paper, and you got to start setting goals for yourself. And he wanted every kid in the team to put goals on a piece of paper. So I put a goal down. I said, I want to be second in the section. I want to be second in the region. That was my goal. And there was only one other person in my high school's history that made it to regional finals, and so I thought it was a reach goal. I ended up achieving that goal. So I went from being very bad at sports, being not too talented at many things, and all of a sudden I was really one of the best wrestlers in the history of my high school very quickly. And so I learned the importance of like setting goals and how to become good at things. In that year, I learned to become good at things really quickly through that experience, because I was not talented at wrestling, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm the one of the top people in the region.
Right. After all of those early losses, right?
Yeah, and I became good very quickly. I learned from that how to become good at just other things in general. One, you got to set goals for yourself, and two, you got to learn from the best. So I just started looking at all the best wrestlers, and I thought being good at things was just a matter of luck. And I started looking at people that are really talented. And I looked at what they did to become talented, and I just started copying them. And then I started becoming I basically started becoming good too. And so I've used that formula for a lot of different things once I got involved in business. It sort of was out of necessity, but I always modeled myself after people that were the best, try to be the best. And so learn from the best, study the best, and copy, and learn from them.
Yeah.
So
not the name Sticker Mule, but the idea for the company, where did that come from?
Yeah,
because I've heard the explanation of where the name came from, which is cool.
Yeah, my co-founder says it good. He says it was an idea born out of frustration. I came to him. He had gone through his whole career. He had retired some years ago, but he had gone through his whole career without ever using a computer. And
how do you do that?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so it was 2010. He had just gotten through his whole life without using a computer. He bought his first computer because he loves betting the horses. He's a genius. He's one of the only people I know. Very few people make money betting horses, but he makes an average $50,000 a year betting the horses.
Jeez.
So you need a little bit of brain power to do that. Just like so I'm used to dealing with people that are smart. That's why I could tell President Trump's fairly smart. I'm used to dealing with people that are very smart. You can see people can do things that other people can't do, and you're like, well, this guy is a little different. Not everybody can make money betting horses, but he had got a computer to help himself get statistics for horse racing, and he asked me for help with the computer, and I just started BSing about the idea of an internet-based manufacturing company, because the frustration I had was my family's company was a manufacturer, and we sold through distribution. At the time, all manufacturing was sold through distribution. I didn't like it because we didn't have control of the customer.
Right.
And so you could do a great job in manufacturing, but if your distribution partner is inadequate or having their own issues, you could lose customers that weren't your own fault. So I wanted to really have a fully integrated.
That control freak thing again.
Yeah, exactly. I like to be in control, and I wanted to live or die by my own talent and ability. I didn't want to be beholden to a distribution layer. And so I said, this would be great. He was frustrated too, because he was a lifelong manufacturing guy. And he had been in manufacturing his whole life. He actually ran a massive manufacturing operation in Brazil earlier in life. And so he knew what it was like working with distribution partners and then being beholden to them. You could have the best factory in the world, but if your distribution partners are non-performing or they're going through financial difficulties, you're in trouble. And so, we wanted to live or die by our own talent and ability. And so that was the idea behind it. And I BS with him just before Christmas 2010, and he went to bed. He left me at 5 or 6 o'clock after the conversation. He closed his laptop, went home, and I didn't think much was going to come of the conversation. And then he came and saw me at 9 a.m. the next day, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not, but he said almost word for word. He said, Anthony, he showed up to see me, he had a notepad in his hand, and he said, Anthony, I stayed up all night with a bottle of vodka. I drank the bottle and decided we need to start an internet company together.
A whole bottle will do that to you.
Yeah. And he had a notepad, and he's a big believer. I'm a big believer in to-do lists. And he said, these are all the things we got to do in order to get a company started. And I give him a lot of credit to this day. I said, give me some time. I got some things I got to sort out. We can tackle that maybe in a few months or so, or in a year or so. And he said, no, Anthony, you showed me the internet last night, and you're already 5 years too late. We got to start it right now. He said, I'll back you financially, but you got to decide you want to do it. I wasn't in a situation to really build a company financially. And so I said, all right, we'll do it. We cut a check. We went and saw our lawyer. We had a wonderful lawyer named Richard Cohn. We went and saw him, and we walked into his office a week later. He said, Dick, me and Anthony are here. We want to start an internet company together. And Dick said, the internet, my grandkids say it's phenomenal. I would love to help you guys. So he got us incorporated. We called people to build the website, and we called them, and there was this hot shot company at the time that was just getting started, and people still had phone numbers back then. So they put a phone number on their website. We called the number, cold call. The owner of the company answered, and we said, listen, we want your help. We want to build an internet company. And he said, what do you want to sell? We said, well, we don't know. And he said, what's your budget? And my co-founder, who was in his 70s at the time, he said, we don't know. We haven't done anything on the internet before. We were hoping you could advise us as to cost expectations. And the guy said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The internet's very hot right now. I'm getting a lot of weirdos calling me. You guys sound like a couple of weirdos. I don't think I want to work with you.
Yeah, not too solid.
Yeah, I don't think I want to work with you. You don't have a budget. You don't know what you want to sell. What are you talking about? And so my co-founder looked at me, nodded, and I said, well, we could spend $100,000. And so he said, well,
that'll get his attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And he said, okay, I'm free next week. Can you come to Washington, D.C. and meet me? So I went to see him, and he said, I got to be honest with you. I remember I met him, and he said, I got to be honest with you. I really like you guys. You still think you're weirdos, but I really like you. I'd like to get started on this right away, but can you please figure out what the heck you want to sell? I really want to work with you. And so I went home, and we threw some names around, and I just got used to moving very quickly with everything I do. And Sticker Mule sounded good. I don't know. I was just telling somebody the other day, I had pet donkeys as a kid, and Sticker Donkey doesn't sound as nice as Sticker Mule. So
Sticker Mule's cool.
Sticker Mule sounds good. Sticker Donkey doesn't sound so
Yeah.
good.
You know, what's funny is that so many people that come in here, and even some of my merchandise, some of my wife's or campaign buttons and stuff, all came from Sticker Mule.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I know a lot of people who talk to you say the same thing. We order your stuff, but no. In fact, my production guy was in here earlier, and he said, I get all my stuff from Sticker Mule. You're talking to him?
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people do.
My dad was a lifelong Republican, big time patriot. He loved singing. He would sing songs all the time, and he loved donkeys. So he's a big fan of the donkey, which is problematic, right? It doesn't make sense if you're a Republican. You love
right
donkeys.
off the bat, you got a problem.
Yeah, he loved the animal for its religious significance and for the fact that it's a hardworking animal. So at least the Democrats, I guess they did a decent job picking their mascot. But yes, it's funny. I grew up being surrounded by donkeys, but my dad was a lifelong Republican.
Elephants, not so much in the workboat, right?
Yeah, you can't have pet elephants. That's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Right. Mike Tyson had the pet tigers, but even he didn't have a pet elephant.
So the company, 2010.
We started in 2010. And
it's 2024.
Yeah, and it just blew up. The biggest issue we had when we got started was, we had too many customers. We couldn't take care of the demand. We had to figure out how to scale up. And now it's 14 years later, almost 15 years later, and we're 1,200 people in 39 countries.
That's amazing. That's awesome growth.
I've been all over the world. I set up operations in Italy. I mentioned a bunch of times I've lived in Mexico, and I got to learn multiple languages along the way. I speak Italian, I speak Spanish. And
I've heard your Spanish.
Yeah, my Spanish. I've done some Spanish language interviews, which is really fun.
I listened to one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
Tried to pick out what I could.
Yeah. I did I spoke to Henry Cejudo, UFC champion. I did a podcast with him, which was really fun. It was funny. I wasn't expecting to do that, but that was fun. He's a great friend of mine. And so, I got to learn a lot of stuff. I said, and I got used to doing a lot of different things, and I like taking on challenges. I just like doing interesting stuff. I never really wanted to get in business per se, but I just like doing interesting things. And,
right.
I tell people that's probably what's one of the keys to success in business is, all the best guys. I like Elon a lot. He says a lot of similar things too. He says, he's not in it. He says, I'm just collecting resources to solve problems. He wants to get to Mars. And he said it's fairly expensive to get to Mars. So he's doing all his interesting things just for the love of what he's doing. And I tell you, if you look at business, most of the best business people were just innovators that like doing interesting things, not people that are looking to make money. And so, everyone knows I've been fairly good at making money, but I tell everybody, if you want to make money, you got to be very interested in solving problems for people, and making, solving problems and doing useful things. And that's where the money comes from. And so, that sort of led me to the political life that I'm now.
Well, it led you to wanting to tell people what your political beliefs were, right? And that led to the sign on your building in Amsterdam. Tell us a little bit about that process of, you weren't very political, you weren't saying things, but all of a sudden you decided, you know what, I'm gonna make it known, and I'm gonna do it very loudly. And then you get a troublemaker like Paul Antonelli to help you do that.
Well, that's wonderful. Right. So anyway, I was actually one of the first people to get canceled in 2016.
Really?
So some people don't really know that. So time passes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was one of the first. So I gave President Trump a $500 donation in 2016, and I wrote a few mildly supportive tweets in 2016, nothing major, and some influencer got wind of it and went nuts. And like next thing we know, we woke up. We were a 300 or 400 person company. We wake up and tens of thousands of people are just writing emails telling us that they hate us and that they're going to destroy our business. You know, we didn't have the word cancellation at the time, but so I was one of the first people to get canceled in 2016. I didn't see it coming because it was like we didn't do anything. It just all of a sudden it just happens, and it was very traumatic for the company. Like didn't think we had done anything wrong. I mean, it was a $500 donation. It was like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Right. And they went nuts, you know, because they all did the Trump hatred. So I've known a lot about the issue with Trump hatred since 2016. If you had a chance to talk to some of my friends that have talked to me, I pretty much that day I said to myself and to my friends, like, you know, that was traumatic. I'll be honest. I said, I'm going to make my company so financially strong that this will never be difficult for me to endure again. So I saw a lot of people have a hard time with cancellation. And so I spent 8 years just making myself tough to be able to financially tough, mentally tough, whatever the case may be, to be able to withstand it in the event that I wanted to
make a statement.
A statement down the road, you know, at the right moment in time. And so 8 years have gone by, you know, President Trump ended up vacating the White House in 2020. I immediately went out. People don't know this either. I don't know if he knows it, but I immediately went out after he vacated the White House in 2020 and bought a Mar-a-Lago membership. Never got to use it. Yeah, it's funny.
That's all right. You're a member of the club, right?
Yeah, I said I want to show support. I want to be supportive. I didn't like what happened in that election. And so I said, I'm going to just do what I can to be supportive. So I went and I bought this Mar-a-Lago membership. Never use it. You know, my life goes on in the campaign. You know, now we're getting into the next campaign. And next thing you know, I was in Mexico. I was actually thinking about boxing again. I had a exhibition fight scheduled. I'd gotten out of shape a little bit, so I was trying to get back in shape. I had an exhibition fight scheduled, and I was like, I gotta go get my hair cut to look nice for the fight. So I'm getting my hair.
Is that a requirement? You gotta look nice for the fight?
It helps intimidate the other guy a little bit if you look good, right?
Really? Okay.
You know, you don't want to look, you know.
Scruffy?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Scruffy would scare me.
Could be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get a haircut so I look nice for the fight. So I was getting my hair cut, and my friend Tommy Marcelino calls me, and he says, Anthony, they just shot Trump. And I said, really? You know, to be honest, you hear things with the news these days, you don't even know if it's real.
Yeah.
So I said, let me find out if this is even real. So I start going on the internet, and this seems real. I see like the blood and all that.
Yeah.
And I said, this is real. And so I just, before I go and sit up, I just take off. And I sometimes when I want to do something, I just get very focused. And so I just take out my phone and I start writing. And I wrote an endorsement of them and then I sat back down. The guy said, I'm ready to cut you. So I sat back down the bar chair. I finished writing my thing. And I showed my girlfriend the message, and she liked it, and we ended up sending it that night. It went viral.
And that went out to all your customers.
And so yeah, I wanted to send an email. You know, customers are used to getting emails on Monday, and so what I did is we put the social message out immediately, and it got 3 million views very quickly, and it went crazy. And then we sent it out to an email to 5 million customers, and that ended up being my biggest news cycle by far. And so.
Did the cancellation come again like it did back in 2016?
It was harder. I mean, I've been canceled multiple times now, so for various things we've done, you know, and so we got canceled for silly things. It's like unbelievable. We put out a tweet once when they messed up the situation in Afghanistan. We put out a tweet. We said plans for Sticker Mule Afghanistan are on indefinite hold.
You get canceled for that?
We got canceled.
Oh my God. These people need to get a life.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there was a number of different cancellation situations. I can't remember them all, but you know, I actually didn't mind it because it was it's something you have to get used to, right? Not just me, but my team. I have 1,200 people.
Right.
I have people from both sides. You know, I have people, Democrats, Republicans. You can't have 1,200 person company and only hire one political party. It's almost impossible. I also believe in not really discussing politics at work. We talk about.
Well, nobody has a company and walks in and says, I'm only going to work with Republicans. I'm not going to work with Democrats.
We just hire the best there is, and we don't really talk. Like, the simple thing is we don't talk politics at work, so it never become an issue. But we did, you know, it's not easy to get used to waking up and people saying nasty things. So we probably been canceled a handful of times, but it was kind of a necessary process for me to get into this situation because it got people used to it.
Right.
You know.
And what your position was.
Yeah, like people can't take, like I'll have people that attack me now, and now that I have supporters, right? They'll attack me, and I'll retweet them, and 6 people will criticize them, and they delete their account, and they go into panic mode. They can't handle 6 people.
Yeah.
And so we've had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't even know how many people, but we've gone through it multiple times. So it's something you have to go through to get used to, and then you'll learn to like not let it bother you.
Right.
And so the cancellation for my endorsement of Trump post assassination, it was crazy. Because I said basically that the message tried to be unifying, tried to calm things. I said, look, I support President Trump. People at Sticker Mule support President Trump. I said a lot of people at Sticker Mule support him. A lot of people support the other candidate. We all get along, and the hatred needs to stop. And so, nice message. People went nuts. I mean, I was getting death threats, calls to commit suicide. Not like 1 or 2. It was out of control. I mean, it was so bad that I ended up issuing $2,500 bonuses to our customer service staff immediately, just to
because they were taking a lot of help.
Yeah, to thank them for dealing with all the inbound crap that they were dealing with. And it wasn't, you could see the messages. Some people were writing them publicly. Some of them were coming in privately. Some of them we posted and people got mad at us. Said, how dare you, post this? This is a private message. Well, people shouldn't write messages telling you to kill yourself or I'm going to kill you. I mean, one person said, I can't wait to see you in person. I'm going to drill your face in with 1,000,000 bullets or something like that.
Yeah.
I said something.
And you don't, some of these people, I mean, after he was shot, you don't know.
Yeah. So, the cancellation there was bad. But
most people, though, would have backed off a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like you stepped up and said, damn it.
I wanted to fix the situation. And so, the problem there was, so it was interesting because I sent this thing out. I thought it was a nice message. It was respectful to both sides, which we needed to do to calm down the left. The left needed to calm down a little bit. Many of them should be Trump supporters. They just don't realize it. They just don't. So we want to help the people on the left that are there for the wrong reasons come over to our side. So I don't want to not be insulting them. So I wrote a nice letter. People went nuts. I had friends call me. It was the funniest thing. I had 2 big-time Democrat friends call me. One's a tech exec and one of them's a CEO. And they said, Anthony, I was getting all these calls. The day I sent that letter, every single friend of mine must have got like 20 calls. What did Anthony do? Is he okay? Did he lose his marbles? Like, why, because everybody was talking about that letter. And one of my friends, one of my friends called the CEO, and he said, Anthony, people calling me saying you did something really bad. And I said, yeah. And he said, you guys gotta be honest. I read your letter. And I said, what? He said, I think it's a nice letter. It's funny. He goes,
very nice.
Yeah. And then another friend, a tech executive, he called me, said the exact same thing. He goes, Anthony, everybody was calling me saying you did something really bad, that you endorsed Trump. And he goes, I'll be honest with you, I got really angry to hear that you endorsed President Trump. He goes, but then I read your letter and I thought it was a nice letter. So he said, everybody, so I talked to a lot of people that liked it, but the hate was unbelievable on the internet. It was out of control. Forbes went and wrote a fake hit piece on us. We're looking at taking legal action against them. And so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
That was the only, I got all positive press from the media. That was really impressive, except for Forbes.
Yeah. So why did you?
By the way, I want to put this out there. It was really weird. I would like
if you got breaking news, I'm for it.
This is a little breaking news. I'm probably going to do something about it. So Forbes.
Is it okay with Paul?
Yeah. Well, I would with him. Forbes, where my PR director came from. So my PR director, this is a funny situation. So my PR director comes from Forbes, and I don't want to say his political beliefs, but I don't want to say because he's a whatever. He's a good guy, and so I shouldn't, and so. Anyways, he comes from Forbes. I say, hey, I'm going to do this Trump endorsement. I called my team, and he was like, oh, my God, please don't do that. It's like my second day on the job. I mean, it ended up being the best thing for him ever in his career because now he's like a PR hotshot. But, everybody wants to talk to me, and he's the guy.
Right.
And Paul, too. But, he was very opposed. In fact, there was an Axios piece that said, there was an Axios piece, and it ended with, Anthony Constantino asked his PR advisor what to do, and he said not to do it, but he did it anyways. Like Axios was so mad that I did this, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you see that guy? He was getting all wound up the other day, like losing his mind, the Axios CEO.
I saw a couple of interviews you did where even the people interviewing you just went off, basically.
Yeah.
It's like they weren't journalists at all. So they were very opinionated.
Yeah. So, no, very bad. So we get this PR guy. Everybody's writing nice articles about me because the letter was nice. People saw the hate and they thought I wrote a bad letter. But then people read the letter and go, no, it's a nice letter. And so the media really couldn't hit me with anything because I just said, look, I got people both sides and we need to, and so the media, it couldn't be anything but nice except for Forbes. So I'm like, my guy comes from Forbes and Forbes writes this totally phony article saying my employees don't like me, but they had all anonymous sources.
That's always the case, right?
Right. And they said all this insane. They said my employees didn't want the bonuses. They didn't want the bonuses. They had no evidence of that. They said a number of completely ridiculous things. So next thing I know, the content editor at Forbes, name's Randall Lane. We're going to be dealing with him very shortly. He hits up my team asking for $25,000 for a side project of his. This is real. I mean, I'm talking to lawyers about it right now. So this is how scummy these people are. So he hits me up, my team, asking for $25,000 for a side project of his. And my PR guy goes, you should really do it. He's the editor. And, so I ended up doing it to be a nice guy. And then I said, could we talk to the guy? Could he fix the article? And he said, no, I'm not fixing the article. And so I just talked to some very talented lawyers last week. I wasn't going to put this guy's name out there, but his name's Randall Lane. And we're going to be bringing a lawsuit against Forbes. And hopefully he ends up in some hot water over what he did, because I don't think, he was the editor and he came to me asking for $25,000 after he's got his lieutenants hitting me with fake hit pieces. So we're going to hit him with defamation. We're going to hit him with whatever we can hit him with. And, yeah, all the press was good except for Forbes. So
we haven't even gotten to the
Randall
sign.
Lane. I looked at him. I didn't know what the guy looked like because my PR guy said to me, this guy Randall Lane, he wants $25,000 for one of his side projects. He said he's the editor-in-chief of Forbes, and if you give him this $25,000, it was for one of his side projects.
Side project.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, if one of my employees took $25,000 from a client for a side project, I'd fire their asses. So he shook me down for $25,000, which
that's what it sounds like.
I gave him $25,000. I didn't know what he looked like until recently. I retained lawyers to look into the situation, so they're going to be taking action. I didn't even know that the lawyers. They go, who is the guy? And I said Randall Lane. They looked him up. And then they go, Anthony, this guy, you could just tell by looking at him, he's a weasel. And so if you look at him, I should have looked at his picture first. I would have known not to deal with him.
But you know what this is going to be called now?
We can now.
This is going to be called hush money. You're going to have a hush money trial now.
We're going to do something about him. But I think whoever's senior leadership before just look into Randall and probably fire his ass. I would fire his ass if I was there. Yeah. But anyways, but yeah, everything ended up being good and positive. And then my team, a lot of my friends, they said to me, look, you made your point, you made your statement, and you made your point, you made your statement, and you can stand down now and go back to work. And I said, well, the problem is the internet backlash was massive. So if I shut up, it looks like the internet backlash won, right? And we need to show people that the internet backlash didn't win. So we need to stay more active, not less active.
So it fired you up, really, in a way, right?
Well, strategically it was necessary. I said I want to fix the problem. I got tired of the issue with the hate, because they call Trump supporters all these things. I said they call them the R word and the F word. Some of these words are ridiculous. They call them the F word fascist. It's so stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. And I was like, I operate in 39 countries. I speak multiple languages. This is silly. I know people that are Trump supporters come from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. And we're very accepting people. We're very fun people. And I told people this too, like the Trump supporters in general, want to maintain their friendships with their liberal family members. We don't want to lose friendships over politics, but the other side, they train their people to end relationships. In fact, I think it was Elon or somebody, they posted a poll the other day of, opinions on this issue with Republican versus Democrat. And it shows conclusively Democrats will sever ties with employers, with everybody over politics, and Republicans won't. So, I just knew that the situation was ridiculous. And I said, we're not going to fix it if I stay quiet, because then people say, oh, that Sticker Mule guy, he spoke up and everybody yelled at him and then he shut his mouth. So everyone's going to be scared. Everyone's going to keep doing the same thing. One guy speaks, I said, I'm just going to keep going and keep doing more stuff. And I'm also a fairly creative person and I don't like to lose when I get involved in things. I said, I'm just going to do whatever I can to try to fix it.
That's what I was getting at is you don't like to lose. I can tell.
Yeah, I don't like to lose. Even like with this Randall Lane guy, I'm going to bury him hopefully. But you shouldn't have.
Is it over there? He's gone. Oh, no.
I mean, you can't shake people down for $25,000 and not have something happen.
Exactly.
So that's not good behavior. I'm a nice person if you're a nice person, but I like Trump. He's a counterpuncher. So if you do something bad, I'm gonna address the situation. And the left was doing really bad things, not the people, but the politicians. They were going around, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, all these people. They were putting poison in the minds of their voters and teaching them to hate people. and that needed to be addressed. And so I said, I got to get people confident. I want to help people be more confident speaking up and admitting they support President Trump, because the only way the hate's going to go away is if more people admit they support him. The problem on the left is, and this was a problem that was really hurting both sides of the country, is people on the left, they don't even know who Trump supporters are, because by and large, we're scared to admit we like them. So they got this idea in their head that Trump supporters are horrible people, but they never even met one. I mean, they have met them, actually. Many of them have met Trump supporters.
But they didn't know.
Exactly. And so, oh, I love Anthony Constantino. But then you find out, wait, he's a Trump supporter? So I said, we need more people doing this. And that's what ended up happening. I don't think it was due to him. I think Elon really deserves the most credit. He really stuck his neck out there more than anyone, and was a very loud voice to empower people to admit they support Trump, because he had a great reputation. But other people too, like Henry Cejudo, two-division UFC champion, won the Olympic gold, Mexican-American, spoke up. I had 2 other Mexican-American UFC fighters come to my events and admit they and endorse Trump publicly. Lots of people did it. I talked to Michael Harris, the founder of Death Row Records, the other day. He did a lot. He was at MSG speaking on behalf of Trump. A lot of rappers. I said, almost they use the R word.
He had the rappers.
Exactly. They use the R word. They say, oh, the Trump supporters are all this R word. And the one guy goes, he was like, I'm going to write an article on you in the Washington Post. Whenever I do I do these interviews with these like far left people, and every single time I do them, I do them so good they don't write the article. It's like I say the right things and they don't write the article. So I do this thing.
We're going with this, by the way. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah, exactly. So I do this interview with this like far left guy. He's like, I'm with the Washington Post. I'm going to do Washington Post. And the interview was so good. I kept saying, I don't like to say the word. I said the R word. And he goes, I don't know what that word is. I go, you know what the word is? It's the one that starts with an R and ends with a T. And he's like, no. I'm like, are you really that dopey? But anyways, so he ends up not writing the article. But yeah, it's really sad. I said, how can you use the R word to define the Trump voter, when the entire rap community, I mean, he's got almost every rapper plus a guy who I'm a huge fan of, Mike Tyson. I mean, Mike Tyson is a friend of Donald Trump for a long time, and Mike Tyson's a Trump supporter, and he was on record saying he supports Trump this time around. I almost had Mike Tyson come endorse him in front of the sign, but he was preparing for the Jake Paul fight, and he didn't have the time to do it. But
maybe he did.
Yeah. So
the sign, you still haven't get to the sign.
Oh, so we just keep going and going and going. I said, well, what can I do creatively to support them? So next thing I do, I started sending out stickers all over the country. I sent out stickers to everybody that wanted them happy, but I said they had to be happy stickers. And I wrote a letter with the stickers encouraging people to just admit they support Trump. That went out to a lot of people. And then that ended. And I said, what else can I do? I would just be up on my team until 2 a.m. I had this kid that works for me who was really into this stuff, and he would be up with me till 2 a.m. What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do tomorrow?
So he was driving you.
Well, Paul too. Paul is, so next thing I know, I just said, what else can we do? So we come with this idea to do the sign. And one thing I learned is whenever somebody tells you not to do something, like especially when a lot of people tell you not to do it, that's the one to do, because that's the thing that gets all the attention. So everybody told me, don't do the sign, or don't do the sign, don't do the sign, don't do the sign. And then that ended up being a massive media explosion. But yeah, really, I was just looking for different ways to generate positive energy, positive media for President Trump. I wanted to help him get reelected, but I would say too, like, I didn't just want to help him get reelected. Like, we didn't want to go through what we went through the first time he won. The first time he won, he got in there, but there was so much animosity towards him. Yeah. He couldn't he couldn't be as effective as he could have been. He was actually incredibly effective given all the crap he had to deal with.
There was a lot.
So I said, we got to get him in there, but we have to fix the problem of anti-Trump hate so that when he does get in there, we're not wasting mental energy on stupidity. We don't want to waste the mental energy of the entire nation fighting over hoaxes. We wasted 2 years over a hoax called the Russia hoax, and over all these ridiculous hoaxes, and really a hoax. The original hoax that Hillary started was he's going to start World War III. He ended up being the best president at peace ever. So
well, yeah, they were losing sleep over him having the nuclear codes. I remember that.
So we needed to fix the situation. So I wanted to do everything I could to generate positive energy for him, not just so he won. I suspected he would win, but I wanted him to win. I wanted the country to be happy and unified and not waste mental energy on stupid things like hoaxes.
So the Trump for President sign that you put up on top of
vote for Trump, I ended up saying vote for Trump. So yeah, we went with vote for Trump. We debated different things to do, but I'm a marketer, right? So you want to be action oriented. Vote for Trump, right? If you just say Trump Vance, it doesn't really tell you to do anything. So I wanted to tell people what to do. Vote for Trump. And then the trick with the sign was I said, it's got to be beautiful. It's got to be, so I got to artistically design.
Gonna be, that sounded Trumponian, right? It's gonna be a big, beautiful sign, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, people like beautiful things. So I said, it's got to be beautiful. So we got we got a team of artists to design it. A really talented artist took lead on that. And then we got it handcrafted and forged out of steel. It lights up at night. But I said, the trick is it's got to be beautiful, because if you make something beautiful, everybody's going to like it. Nobody's upset with beautiful sign. I mean, everybody likes the sign. Even Democrats like the sign. And somebody told me, Jerry Nadler doesn't like your sign. I said, well, I'm talking about the voters. The Democrat voters like the sign. I mean, it's a beautiful sign. They drive by it and they say,
sign. I like that. Just cracks me up. It's a beautiful sign.
it's true. You look at it, especially if you go right up to it, you look at it, wow, that's a beautiful sign. So everybody likes the sign. A lot of people told me, even Democrats, they were writing me messages saying, I like your sign. I like your sign. And people also like their town to get attention. And so the sign was an all-around win for the voters on both sides, because it's beautiful. People like beautiful things. They like beautiful skylines. I made the skyline a little nicer to the best of my ability. It got attention for upstate New York, which is a great thing. We need more attention.
Thrust you into the national.
It thrust us into the national, but really at the time, I said it's thrusting upstate New York into the national spotlight. People forget about us because, they write off New York as a uniparty, and all the attention is in other parts of the country. But I made New York the talk of the country during an election, when New York usually neglected, because usually they say New York is a blue state and it's over with. So
yeah. And Trump came, what?
And he did too. He came and campaigned
10%.
It was a 10-point improvement.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think, the voters liked it on both sides. All the citizens liked it. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Say, well, this sign's getting us attention. Which is good. We need marketing to bring people back to New York. We need to be on people's minds. We need to get people coming back to New York. And one way to do that is just to make people aware that we're still here and interesting things are happening here. People need to hear your name. People need to hear the name Sticker Mule to go buy from Sticker Mule. They need to hear the name New York to think to come live in New York, because when people think about relocating and where to live, they just think about words that are in their head. And if they hear Tennessee, they're going to go to Tennessee. If they hear New York, they're going to go to New York. So I got us a lot of attention. I made the skyline prettier, and I built a sign that is beautiful. People like beautiful things, and so all the voters liked it. The Democrats didn't like it, but really, there's really only a few people that didn't like it. I mean, the mayor didn't like it, and his best friend didn't like it, but other than that, I think everybody liked it.
Yeah. So the election happens. You've got to try and sign up. The election happens. You're still not really thinking of politics at that point, right?
No. So I just, I did this whole thing. I had even Paulie helped me with Paul helped me with the first party we did. It was a funny story. So I had my PR guy at the time, really good, but I said to him, we're putting this sign up. We got to get attention for it. And the honest to God story is, because I'm maybe overly honest, but I said to him, how do we get the story out? And he said, well, we got to leak it. The media likes leaks. They love leaks. So they like exclusives. So I said, we're going to leak it to Fox, and they're going to come see you on Wednesday. And so I said, okay. I wake up Wednesday, and I call him. I said, what time is my interview with Fox? He said, I don't know. They never got back to me.
The leak didn't work, right?
No.
So much for that theory.
So I had wanted to do a party. I had wanted to do a party and a press thing from the beginning. So I got upset, when things don't go the way I want them to go. I just take actions. Like, I go, I'll handle this on my own. I hang up the phone. And I hadn't talked to Paul in a while, but 6 years ago, Paul wrote a story about my boxing career. It was like one of the best stories anyone ever wrote about me. Probably the best story ever read about me until recently. And so I said, I don't know why. I said, I'm going to call Paul Antonelli. And so I went on my phone and called Paul Antonelli. And
Is this when he was at the recorder? Or?
Yeah, he was at the...
you at the recorder, Paul, when he wrote that? Yeah. All right.
Full page story about my boxing for the recorder. And so I called him. I said, Paul, I got a situation. We ain't talked in a while, but I got a situation. He goes, what's going on? I got this sign on the top of my building. He goes, oh, that's great. That's great. I go, I want to do an event. I want to get all the media there. He's like, I'm going to get them all. I said, all right, I want to do it tomorrow. He goes, can you give me until Monday?
Yeah, just a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah, I said, Paul, I was supposed to do a thing today. My guy didn't get it done. I got to get this out. I got to get the sign. The elections, I was like, the election's right around the corner. I'm like, we're going to have the election. I got to get the sign out there. And he said, can you give me I said, no, I'll give you until Friday. He goes, can you please give me until Monday? Can you please? He goes, we're going to have everyone there. I promise you, we're going to have everyone there. all right, fine, I'll give you until Monday. So next thing I know, I'm talking to like Henry Cejudo, UFC 2 division UFC champion, who won the gold medal on behalf of Team America in Beijing. And so I get on the phone with him. He goes, I want to come see the sign. He was funny too. He goes, wow, he loves President Trump. And he's a surrogate for President Trump at times. He goes, I want to come. He goes, but I've been running around the country on behalf of President Trump. I promised my wife a vacation. He said, I got to get out of
in the middle of an election.
Yeah.
No vacations.
He promised her like a little quick getaway. And I said to him, okay. I said, well, she's invited too. She can come too. And he said, would you mind doing a three-way with my wife and talking her into coming? I said, I'm not going to negotiate with your wife. I'm just getting to know you. I don't know if if your wife's going to want to listen to me. And he said, all right, I'll talk to her myself. So he answered the phone. He called me back. He said, all right. He goes, I'm allowed to come. I said, okay, she can come too. He said, no, just going to be me. Can I bring 2 more fighters with me? And I said, yeah, you can bring whoever you want. So he ends up bringing Kelvin Gastelum, who fought for the UFC title, and Tracy Cortez, who's one of the top female fighters in the world. And ironically, all Mexican-American, so we were all speaking Spanish, so they all show up. The mayor hears that I'm going to throw in this massive party, and I got all these people coming in. I have people coming in from California, too. I got all these people coming into the event, and he loses his mind and hits me with a restraining order, blocking me from displaying the sign or lighting it up. I couldn't do anything. So I'd already displayed the sign. My lawyer says, we got a restraining order brought against you because he said I'm a threat to the public. The sign's a threat to the public safety or something. So the judge approved the restraining order, and my lawyer said, you got to cover that sign up right away or you're going to jail. I said, how am I going to cover it up? It's 6 o'clock at night. I said, everyone's home eating dinner with their families. He said, you got to get it covered or there's going to be hell to pay. There's a restraining order saying that. And he said, God forbid, by chance, there's some, he goes, you're going to get some Democrats going to run into a tree and say it's your fault.
Yep.
Right? They're going to do it on purpose.
Yep. Yeah. Just look out for that tree.
Right? They're going to get some Democrats going to run into a tree. So anyways, I call my team. I said, you guys got to come back to work immediately. And they rushed back to work, covered up the sign. But I kept going with the event. Everybody wants to come. So my lawyer said, don't worry, we'll try to get it taken care of. I had to get a criminal attorney. I got a criminal defense attorney because I'm like, what happens if I, violate a restraining order? They said jail time. And I said, but I had a criminal counsel on standby to negotiate with the police on my behalf in the event I got arrested or to, handle the situation on my behalf in the event I got arrested. And so, next thing I know, we got Henry Cejudo, Kelvin Gastelum, Tracy Cortez come in, and I say things I shouldn't say, but I like to be honest. And so they show up, and I text them. I say, I'm going to come pick you up. Is there anything you guys want? These guys are all fighters. So I'm thinking they want like Gatorades and, cans of tuna or something. They go, we want tequila. They go, we like tequila. They go, we like tequila.
Okay.
So
Paul, run for no.
I go out, I find some tequila, and then I had my friend go pick them up. I go get the tequila. My friend picks them up. They show up at my house at 1 a.m, and they start drinking. They start drinking tequila, and I ended up being up with them until 5 a.m. the day of the thing. And what am I gonna do? Say I'm going to bed, guys? I got 3 UFC champions in my house, and they were so happy. They were laughing, telling stories. And then we had because they were gonna all speak the next day. So we were up drinking tequila, listening. They go, we need our walkout songs, right? And so they're like we're going through Apple Music, looking at picking walkout songs.
Yeah.
To for their speeches the next day, and then next day I know it's 5 a.m, and I got this event tonight. So I fall asleep at 5 a.m. I sleep like 5 hours. I wake up the next day. I call my lawyer. I go, what's going on with the sign? He goes, you're still under restraining order. If you display it, you're going to jail. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sleep deprived. I'm hungover a little bit. I had a little bit of tequila too, to be honest.
Just a little.
Couldn't say no to those guys. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is not the state of mind I want to be in to make a decision like this. And so I'm like, this is tough. I got to make a really big decision, and I'm not at my best today. So I start calling my friends and family. I call my mom, and she goes, I go, Mom, got this. She liked the sign, but I said, if I show it, they're going to arrest me. And she goes, like, what do you think I should do? She goes, I'm not going to weigh in on this one. You do whatever you think makes sense.
Oh, come on, Mom.
So she stays out of it. And then Henry Cejudo, I don't know if he wants me saying this, he ends up sleeping in because, he was a little tired. Kelvin Gastelum woke up crack at dawn, and so I was like walking around with him. I'm like, Kelvin, I just met him. I'm like, I'm basically spent my day talking to him. Kelvin, what do I do? Do I like to sign up? He's like, go for it. It's gonna be so cool. He's like, if you get arrested, you're gonna be a legend.
It's gonna be a big, beautiful sign.
Yeah, you're gonna be the man that went to prison for
this.
And so the next thing I know, I'm there, and there's like thousands of people, and I had a speech I wrote. So I write this speech, and Newsmax called. They said, we want to do an interview with you. And I did an interview with Newsmax just before 4 o'clock. I think the event started at 5 or 6, and so I do this interview with Newsmax, and they say, so as we understand it, if you like that sign up, you're gonna have to pay a fine. You're gonna pay that fine, right, sir? And I said, it's not a fine. I'm going to jail. And the guy goes, what? Don't believe it. I say, he goes, what are you going to do? He goes, what are you going to do? I go, I don't know. I got about an hour to figure it out. I said, I'm going to have to decide in an hour. And it ended up being like really like out of a movie. It's like I had these cyber trucks. You know, we did the thing.
I saw it. You were standing in the back of a cyber truck, and you had a couple on either side.
Yeah, it was crazy because I had to plan I had to plan the event, organize the event, write my speech, do all this stuff. And so I was like, well, they're like, you need a stage. I was like, well, I don't have a stage, but I got cyber trucks. I was like, okay. Next thing I know, I'm like about to get on the cyber truck, and my lawyer calls me and he says, Anthony, I got great news. The judge dropped the restraining order, and you're free to go ahead with your event. And Henry Rizzuto.
What would your decision have been?
I don't know.
Without that call?
I asked my lawyer. He has an opinion, but Henry Rizzuto was very upset. He wanted me to go to jail. He was heartbroken.
But I want to know what your decision would have been. Would you have gone?
It's a tough one, to be honest with you. It's a tough one because I think it worked out for the best that it went the way it went because we got to say we won the right way, you know. Because then they say, oh, this guy doesn't care about law and order. This guy doesn't care about the rule of law. Even though they were wrong, it was because my lawyer said this is even though it's an inappropriate restraining order, it's like this. If somebody lies to the judge to get a restraining order, you still have to honor a restraining order, even though it's the restraining order.
Another wrong doesn't make it right.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
So my lawyer said, look, you have to respect the restraining order, even though we know it's based in nonsense. It's based on falsehoods. Like we have to respect it. And so, on one hand, you like say, well, it was a inappropriate restraining order, and so I was within my right to violate it. On the other hand, you're supposed to respect the law. So I think it's a lot better in the long run to say we won fair and square. But what I tell people is not everybody has the ability to go out and retain not just one, but two highly talented attorneys. Not everybody has the ability to get Sal Ferlazzo. I think Sal's the best lawyer in the area, and he's very helpful. He's been very helpful, and he's been a big fan of me. I got a funny story with Sal, too.
You got stories. I tell you what, we'll cut for a commercial right now, and I'll let you get a drink, and we'll be right back.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, everyone, we're back with Anthony Constantino, and we're going to finish up talking about the sign, and then we're going to get into why he's running for office. So take it away, Anthony.
Wonderful. Yeah, so Sal did a great job. We won fair and square. I lit the sign up. Everybody was happy. It was really a scene right out of a movie. Everybody had a great time, and then I just kept doing everything I could to do more things to help President Trump, and eventually we have a landslide re-election. I tried to throw the largest election night party in the United States in front of the sign. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We had about 5,000 people there.
Really?
For that.
I was going to ask you about how many. You said thousands.
I think it was over 5,000 people, wow. And we had 5 different musical acts. They were showing up out of the woodwork we had, and we had so much diversity. It was unbelievable. They say all these nasty things about Trump. I said we had a Latino act from New York City. We had 2 country bands. We had a pop singer, and we had an incredible soul singer from Jamaica, the country of Jamaica.
That's a hell of a mix.
I know we had somebody come visit us from
Jamaican soul singer.
Really impressive. Yeah. And she's saying, when it was obvious that President Trump was about to win, she's saying, Nina Simone's feeling good. And she blew everyone away. The people there, their minds were blown. So, it was really a fun night. And then he ends up winning. I was very happy that he ended up, and it ended up going almost exactly the way I wanted. I think I solved the problem. I said, I wanted to fix the problem of anti-Trump hate. I don't think, I fixed it by myself, but I think that problem's fixed. Now that it was if it was a close election, you would still have the hatred.
Right.
But since it was a landslide.
Or if it was electoral college versus popular vote again, and
Yeah.
we get into that, right?
But he won everything down the line.
Yeah.
He won. And so if you're a Trump hater now, it's kind of a silly position to take. If you're a hater of one of his supporters, it's even sillier. So that problem's gone. And then next thing I know, Roger Stone called me and he said, because he was really appreciative of everything I had done over the last few months. And so he just wanted to get to know me. And so he invited me down to have dinner with him in Fort Lauderdale. And so I'm planning to go see Roger the day before I'm about to go see Roger. Elise gets nominated for the UN position, and my phone just starts ringing like crazy. Everyone's like, you got to go for Congress. You got to go for Congress. And I didn't, I said, I didn't really know what to make of it. So I go down to see Roger, and we had dinner. He had sort of organized a dinner with a number of people, and it was sort of meet and greet for Roger and a handful of other people. And in the middle of dinner, I said, Roger, they want me to run for Congress. What do you think? And he goes, I think it's a great idea. He goes, you'd have my total support. And then the dinner just kept going. The dinner ended. He said, Anthony, you want to come over to my house for a bit? And so next thing I know, I'm at Roger Stone's house at 2 a.m. We're bullshitting on his couch and about my, potential candidacy for Congress. And he was very supportive, very encouraging. And so I thought about it a little bit more after that, but I said, this isn't a bad start to a political career. Roger Stone was at the very beginning of President Trump's political career. So it's a pretty big honor to have.
Maybe he sees something, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very cool. And then, I'm a principles-oriented person. I operate on the basis of principles. Like one of my principles is I tell people all the time, time's finite. And so I said, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. Time, we only get so much time here. And I said, I like to use my time doing the most useful things or most interesting things I can do with it. And I said, well, this is probably the most useful use of my time right now.
So tell people about the process. What do you have to do?
Yeah.
What are the steps? In other words, she's been nominated for ambassador to the UN.
Sure.
Now what happens? And then what does she have to do? And then what do you have to do?
Yeah. So the process was deciding if it makes sense for me. First, step one is deciding if it makes sense to me. So I decided to make sense on the basis of I think it's the best use of my time. I've wanted the best possible people in government for a long time. And, I think I'm probably the best person for the position. So that's the other reason I decided to do it. I got into a disagreement with a few friends of mine. They say, you should focus on your business. You should do this. And I say, we sit, these hardcore, I got friends of mine that are very hardcore MAGA people. And there they go, you should focus on your business. I say, you sit in the sidelines. We sit in the sidelines. We complain all the time that there aren't talented people in government. And now I want to do it. And you tell me to go focus on my business. So we want the best possible people in government. I want the best possible people in government. I think I'm the best candidate. I think it's the best use of my time. Time's limited, and I want to use my time in the best way possible. So the process is a little different, right? I'm learning very quickly, but I have to be nominated by the party, by the county chairs. It's there's no primary, so the county chairs have to decide to make me the candidate, which is interesting because I'm a guy that really a few weeks ago wasn't a politician,
right? And that they don't know, probably.
And that they don't know. Many of them have never met.
15 of them, correct?
15 of them, and so I've been reaching out to all of them. I've reached out to as many as I can. I've spoken to them, many of them on the phone. I'm setting up meetings to meet with them in person. Met with some of them in person already. Many of them are very supportive already, but I want to meet with all the county chairs and hopefully earn their support and hopefully end up deciding to make me the nominee. I think there's a number of interesting things about me, but I already put $2.6 million in a campaign account. I did it because that was the appreciation value of my Tesla stock. I wanted to give Elon a little credit for helping my candidacy too.
You bet on him when everybody else was betting against him, right?
Exactly. So I like to have evidence that I make good decisions. I like to have proof. That's why I do a lot of things. So a lot of people like in the world of boxing, there's so many people that box in the gym, right? And they mess around. I can box. But the real test of boxing is actually fighting. And so, I started pro boxing at age 40. And in my body, I had my first 4 fights. I got 4 straight knockouts in the world of boxing, 2 amateur and then 2 pro. And so I look at my own track record of doing things. I started a company called Sticker Mule. It was a success, became a big success. I got in the world of boxing, got 4 straight knockouts. My investment career is almost perfect. I've actually only bought, I don't believe in investing a lot. And so I only invested in my own company for the most part. But other than that, I bought 4 or 5 stocks. I bought Apple, Google, Yahoo, Tesla, and Sticker Mule.
Yahoo's a little weak.
Yeah, and so I know it's interesting. I said, and so those are the only stocks I've ever bought. They all paid big except for Yahoo but that's because of a Yahoo named Mark Cuban who sold them a phony company called broadcast.com and destroyed that investment for me. So I correctly identified, I told people before the election when Mark was running his mouth a lot, I said, this guy's a fake businessman. He's a paid actor. I was right on that as well. So my track record's been almost perfect. Very good business track record. I was able to get into boxing, which to me is a little more difficult than politics, and I was able to get 4 straight knockouts.
I don't know. There may be a few people you want to punch out there in Washington.
Well, I like politics so far. You know, Roger asked me, he goes, are you enjoying this? I said, I think I am, because in politics you fight with words. In boxing you fight with, punches, but it's still fighting in a way, and it's fun. And so, you're fighting with words, and I think that's a lot better than fighting with fists.
Right.
Believe it or not, when I would box, I got 4 straight knockouts. I would hurt people, and my girlfriend would go, "What is wrong with you? Why do you do this? You hurt these people, and then you feel bad afterwards." I would come home after my fights, and I would mope around for the next day. I'd feel bad for the guys, and because I would go, I didn't mean, I was like, I just wanted to win. I didn't mean to hurt them. But like in my first fight, Paul covered. The guy was out for 6 minutes straight. I thought he was dead. I would start getting worried.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was very scared. I was like, my coach said to me before the fight, he goes, "Anthony, you're gonna get in." Well, they all told me, they're like, you're gonna be a knockout artist. I said, "Coach, I've never hurt anybody in my life. Why do you think I'm gonna knock this guy out?" He said, "Because you're a nice person. You're never gonna hurt anyone in practice." He said, "But when the pressure's on in the ring, you're gonna knock him out." So he was out cold. I felt bad about that. I got nervous. I was in Mexico, and next thing the guy wasn't waking up, so I got nervous. And then the second fight, that was the one I felt the worst. I was like, my girlfriend, she goes, "What is wrong with you?" She goes, but I broke the guy's ribs.
Jeez.
He was out. He couldn't move. And I felt terrible. I was like, the whole day, she goes, "If he broke your ribs, he'd be out partying with all his friends, and laughing about the fact that he broke the American guy's ribs." I was like, I don't know. I feel bad for him. So I actually ended up, we throw him some. I felt so bad. I was like, can I help him with his hospital bills or something? I was like, he was a young kid though. My coach was like, "Don't worry, he's a kid. He'll recover." I was like, I don't know.
He'll heal fast. He's young. You're 40.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a different story.
Anyways, but yeah, I've been good at most things. I like to learn new skills and learn things. I even did, stand-up comedy. I learned how to do that. And I did stand-up comedy on behalf of President Trump in Manhattan a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so, yeah, I think I'm new to this, but I'm a fast learner. I like learning new things. I like using my time to do useful things, and I think this is the best use of my time right now. So I'm going to try to win over all the county chairs. It's going well so far, but I'm going to keep working at it.
So the 21st District here in New York State, Elise was the number 4 Republican in the House.
Yeah.
So with her moving off, and it doesn't matter who, you or anybody, somebody else coming in, that's a loss of influence for the district in a way, right?
Sure.
How do you think you're going to compensate for that?
Sure. We got big shoes to fill, right? She's one of the top Republicans in the country. Very smart person, very hard worker. And so it's going to be big shoes to fill, but I'm a fast learner. I've been friendly with her. I want to try to, if she's interested, we talked a little bit about it, but I want to try to retain her staff to the best of my ability and hit the ground running with them and learn from her as best I can and follow in her footsteps. But, I think without being, if you look at me and you look at my background, I'm the most positioned to be able to fill those shoes if you think about it.
Well, I think the financing is important because, anybody else, it's a short time frame. You've got, after she tenders her resignation, the governor has 10 days, right, to say we're going to have a special election, and then it's, a 70, 80-day period after that before we actually have to have it.
Yeah, so I think, two things, for the financing is great. Right, I want to finance my own campaign. I want to help the party take back control in New York State. But, you want to fill the shoes with talent. And so I think in terms of talent, I'm the most talented person. I don't want to, I don't like to oversell myself, but when I looked at President Trump, one of the things that appealed to made me interested in him is his skill set. He's so talented, and people would be critical of him because he wasn't a politician, but I was like, you could see the talent all over the place. I had a comedy background. I said, this guy's one of the funniest people, and his comedic skills are incredible. In fact, I talked to the head writer for Jay Leno once, and I said, "What do you think about President Trump?" And he said, "I'm a Democrat, but I got to be honest with you. He's the best comedian in the world right now." He said he's one of the best comedians there is, and so it's not easy to be the best comedian in the world. That's a hard thing to do. He made a show called The Apprentice, and He became very successful at that. It was the best show on television, one of the top shows on television, and he's built all these beautiful hotels and golf courses, and his public speaking skills. He's the best public speaker in the world. He's an incredible negotiator. What he did with Kim Jong-un was unbelievable.
Have you met him personally?
I saw him briefly at the Mar-a-Lago when I went with Roger, and so that was really cool. He's got an incredible talent stack. He's a very talented person. Maybe he didn't have political talents initially, but it's not easy to acquire talents. It's not easy to become the best, like a top-notch comedian. It's not easy to become a top-notch hotel manager or any of the things he's been able to do. And so I would say if you look at me and look at everything I've done, very few people have been able to build a 1,200-person company without outside investment. I don't even, I have a co-founder, but he's basically retired. I operated the entire company by myself, built it to 1,200 people. It's not so easy to learn 2 languages along the way. I learned 2 languages without going to school for it. I learned 2 languages in my spare time. I learned how to box in the meantime while doing all that.
And do stand-up, which is a lot of writing.
Stand-up comedy. I write all my own copy. Like a lot of people have speech writers and copywriters, but I write my own copy. I write my own speeches. And I have a great track record as an investor. So I think in terms of talent, it's big shoes to fill with Elise, but we want talent in government. I think I'm the most likely to be able to come close to filling those shoes. I don't know if I'll be able to fill the shoes, but we want to come close, and I think I'm the most likely to being able to come close.
What about issues for people in the district? What do you think are the most important issues for us? I know you've gone out there and you've talked about the depopulation of New York State, and I know you've mentioned solar and the impact on farms and things before. Other things, and why those, but what other things?
Yes, I'm actually putting out a thing on solar very soon. I wrote that last night, and my team goes, "How the heck did you write that so quickly?" I don't know. I just wrote. But anyways, the number, so I like to solve the biggest problems. You got to start with the biggest problems first, and the biggest problems people are leaving, and so people are the key to everything. Like people create jobs, people buy things, people are customers, people are business owners, people work in businesses, people administer businesses. You need people, you need talent, you need good people, not just people, right? So I talk about all these like tech CEOs. I get so annoyed at them. I mean, I'm a tech CEO too, but they're all liberals. They're all, I don't even know if they're liberals. I think they're just bad people. They're people,
Don't sugarcoat it at all, Anthony.
No, because they're very hypocritical in the way they operate. So they have, you try to get into a tech company, it's the hardest process in the world. They got six interviews, 6 layers of interviews you got to go through. They make it, you got to have a degree from Harvard to get in, or Stanford or Yale. It's the hardest thing in the world to get to work for one of these guys, but then they support open borders and they want everybody to come into the country. So I think just like they think, look, I want the best possible people working for me. I want the best possible people in New York State. We got to attract people to come back to New York State, but we got to attract the right type of people. Nobody knows the border better than me. I speak Spanish a lot. I speak Spanish completely fluently. I boxed in Mexico. I know the situation on the southern border very well. I've seen it firsthand. I was there in Mexico when President Trump vacated the White House and another guy named Joe Biden got in there. And I can tell you every single person in Mexico or a lot of people in Mexico, they all had conversations about should they come, because the word on the street was, if you come and ask for asylum, you get it. And that was really nasty what they did. It was really nasty, not just to the American people. It was really nasty what they did to the Latin American community and the Central American community. Well,
those are potentially skilled workers, or possible workers coming up here and not staying in their home country.
Exactly. That's the nasty thing. They destabilize these countries. They see, like, I like to take the high ground from the Democrats. The Democrats, their position is not a kind-hearted position. It's a nasty position, because America's a very well-marketed country. Everybody wants to come here because they hear great things, but these people, they don't even know what it means to come here. And the problem is, I saw it firsthand, what happens is when people come, it's not the entire family that's coming. It's the younger people. And it's not even all the younger people, because not everybody wants to come. So you have a lot of families in Central and Latin America and South America where you have 5 or 6 brothers and 1 or 2 want to come. Well, they come, they ask for asylum, and they're saying goodbye to the family forever. They don't get to see they get FaceTime, but they never get to spend Christmas together again. They never get to spend birthdays together again. They say goodbye forever, because once you ask for asylum, you can't go back.
Right.
And so you say goodbye to grandma and grandpa forever. You say goodbye to your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles forever. And then they come here, they got no network to fall back on. They're by themselves, and they compete for low-wage jobs with American workers, and they screw over our people. and then they suffer themselves, and then they don't know what to do. I know people that did it, and they come here and they don't know what to do. Do they stay because they went through so much hell to get here, and some of them pay to get here? They give up their life savings to coyotes and stuff like that to do it.
And there's even an embarrassment to failing and going back. And
Exactly. Nobody likes to admit that if they're coming from South America, these people are doing 3-month-long hikes on foot to come here. They don't even know what's here.
Right.
And so they get here and then they're as well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And so I say, I'm going to encourage tourism to Mexico so all the Democrats can go and see firsthand Mexico's actually a nice place. So when they sit there, we got to get all these people to come up here. A lot of these countries are actually nice countries. I spent time, I have some people in Argentina. Argentina's a beautiful country. Mexico's a beautiful country, but we're destabilizing these countries because people, instead of what would happen to, it is happening to New York, but what would happen if everybody in your town or in my town were thinking about leaving the whole time instead of thinking about building businesses? It'd be horrible for the economy. And so
it is happening here, Herkimer County. You're not going to know the numbers, but the population is down to 59,000.
Yeah.
They're projecting it to go down to 49,000 by 2030.
Wow.
And so that's a huge loss of people. So how do you work on getting people back or convincing them to stay? Jobs are important, but which comes first? The people that can fill the jobs, or the jobs and then
the people, because the people bring energy and creativity, and they think you just got to get people back by any means necessary. But really quick, the situation on the southern border is bad with people coming over for bad reasons. We're hurting them, but the situation we're dealing with here in New York State is worse because we got the people coming in from the northern border, and I can tell you, nobody's leaving Canada to escape poverty. They're coming here for much worse reasons, and so the situation with illegal immigration on the southern border is horrible. We got to get people coming back here. In order to get people coming back here, I say some things that I haven't heard anyone else say. In fact, some of my advice say, whatever, I have political advisors now, and they're like, talk about taxes. I care about taxes. But I think one of the biggest problems in New York State is it's a state that's viewed as unfavorable to Republicans. It's viewed as a uniparty state. And people don't want to be here for that reason alone. Look what they did to President Trump's CFO. They put him in jail, for bullshit. And so I think the Democrats should apologize for that. Maybe Paul Tonko should apologize for treating people so poorly because he's scaring people out of the state. The Democrats got to help me and help other people make the state seem safe for everybody. It's not good for Democrat voters that people are scared to live here. So we got to make the state seem safe for everybody, for Democrats and Republicans. We need to lower taxes, and people want to live in a state that's safe. And so we got to bring safety back to the state. Safety's, it's really safety, safe for everybody, and safe for all political parties, and then it's marketing, right? So one thing I do in business is you don't market until you got a good product, right? Once you get the product good, then you can turn the marketing on because people are going to like the product. And so we got to get the state safe again. That's one thing we could work on very quickly. We got to stop letting people come through the northern border. I know the problem with the southern border, but the northern border is worse. You got people, you don't want to say the word terrorists, but what are people crossing the northern border for? They're not leaving Canada to escape poverty. Right. People aren't getting on airplanes from other parts of the world and flying over to Canada to skip through the northern border because they're trying to escape poverty. They're coming for other reasons that are not so good reasons. Yeah. Maybe they're coming to sell drugs and be involved in stuff like that, right? They're coming here to do bad things. They're not coming here to escape poverty. They're coming here to sell drugs. They're coming here to do bad things. So we got to make New York State safe. People want to live in a state that's safe. We need low taxes, and we need to make New York State viewed as a state that's safe for people from all political parties. We can't be operating in a state where the CFO of the Trump organization is going to jail for bullshit.
Or even some of the cases against Trump.
And the cases against Trump, what they did. And I looked at Letitia. I was talking about Letitia James. I said, don't say her name. You're going to get in all sorts of trouble. But I don't know.
Oh, geez, here we go.
Somebody said she's going to be, she's not heading in a good direction. I looked at her the other day. Somebody posted a picture. Said she's not heading in a good direction with her own life. So I don't know if she's really a threat. I think more people need to speak out against her. But the Democrats really should take lead in fixing this as well because they live here too. They live here too. And they need to stop supporting people like Letitia James and the governor, what'd the governor say? She's like, she's not a very talented person. I can tell you that. So Democrats need to help work with Republicans to fix this issue. We all get along as people. We all get along as citizens. And I don't have any issue with Democrats, citizens. I think many of them like me and like what I'm saying, but we can't tolerate people like Letitia James and Governor Hochul. I don't even know how you say her name, but Hochul. I got it right.
Yeah.
Look at her, putting people in jail over bullshit and then letting people come through the northern border like it's no big deal, right? They come through the northern border like it's no big deal with drugs, but they put 70-year-old CFOs in prison. It's insane.
So you're going to go off to Washington, and so there are federal issues, right?
Sure.
A lot of this that you're talking about, though, when you talk about a solar policy or whatever, or controlling the border is one thing you can do in Washington, but getting people back to New York State, how do you see that working as a federal employee, as a congressman kind of thing? In other words, it seems like we got to get the local people.
It's a marketing problem. Like I said, you got to fix the issue. You got to make the New York State a good product again, which, I already been trying to do through even just putting up that sign. It's a marketing project for the state. And so why did so many people go to Florida? I mean, DeSantis was out there marketing the state all day. He was in front of the media saying, come to Florida, come to Florida, come to Florida. Just asking people to come, I think, is a good first step. In fact, somebody already wrote me and said, I left New York State for the reasons you mentioned. If you get in, I want to come back. So, it's one person. I don't know if they actually will do it, but you need to ask people to come back and tell people to come back and tell people that are here to help fix the problem. We got to all fix the problem together. People want to live where it's fun. They want to live where people are happy. But even the citizens can do things to make New York State more exciting again. Citizens can make phone calls and tell people to come back. We can throw more parties.
Like the one you had in front of
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can throw more parties. We can do more fun stuff. We got to stop putting policies in place that make the state boring. I go to New York City. Say, you shouldn't talk about New York City. It's not your district. But people in this district, in my district, go to New York City at times. And it's boring now. They close everything down at 10 p.m. I would tell New York City to stay open again. It's supposed to be, right? Frank Sinatra has the song "The City Never Sleeps," and now it goes to bed at 10 p.m. I mean, why don't they fix that?
Because of the crime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's true, because of the crime. Yeah. A few years ago, I used to be able to walk around New York City at 4 or 5 in the morning, and nothing would happen to you. And my friend left. He went to Las Vegas. He left New York. He lives in Las Vegas. And I said, I wouldn't walk around New York City at 4 or 5 in the morning anymore. But they got to fix that. We got to fix the crime. We got to make the state safe. Safety is an easy thing to fix, though. I mean, that's not hard. Just let your police do their jobs.
Yeah.
That's not a hard thing to fix.
You said you had a solar initiative?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be putting out a statement on solar. I think, people said, yeah, I'm very good. So a lot of my employees have farming backgrounds. I've met a lot of farmers through the last few months. My uncle, Chris Testo's a farmer. Was a sheep farmer, and now he takes care of dogs. He's one of the world's best dog breeders. He's phenomenal. He does Malinois police dogs. They're crazy, incredible, really talented farm. Well, now he's the dog breeder, but he was a farmer, really talented person. But one of the issues that brought to my attention was these solar panels. I drive by and I see him get these solar panels all over the place, and people said, what do you think of them? I said, well, the only thing I can tell you is I never put solar panels on my rooftops, because every time I talked to the solar salesman, I found out they were scammers. They're scammers, and they say, well, it's not really a great investment, but you're going to get a lot of positive PR. And so there's a lot of issues with solar. I'm going to take action on that. A lot of times just speaking up and doing stuff and letting, politicians are not that tough, I'll be honest with you. Because
he looks over at Paul.
Sorry, I don't know why I just say that, but no, a lot of them, because they get nervous as soon as somebody starts saying stuff. And so, I think the Democrats went out and they put these solar panels all over the place because nobody ever challenged them on it. And they're, we're going to get positive PR. So for them to virtue signal a little bit, right, they went and destroyed our farmland. But, we're going to be exposing that situation, which I think will help put an end to that. I don't have an issue with solar, but I'm putting out a statement explaining, or putting on an op-ed of sorts explaining, my view on it. I never put solar on my roofs because it's not a good investment. And I think we want to do green in the smartest way possible. I'm a perfectionist. We want to do things in the smartest way possible. Right now, the green movement with solar is with residential solar. It doesn't hurt anybody. You can put solar panels on all the residential roofs you want, and there's no loss to the country. You're not losing farmland. You got the roofs are there. And Elon, and if you look at solar, all the innovation is in residential solar. Elon Musk, once again, is doing a great thing.
And the batteries.
Exactly.
To store it. Yeah.
He's got all the innovation is in residential solar. So I think solar is a great part of the green solution, but it's residential solar. It's not farmland solar. Farmland solar is stupid. It's eating up farmland. It's bad. It's difficult to maintain the cost structure. They put these things down. The other problem with these solar panels, is they become obsolete. This is why I never put them on my roofs. They come to me and say, we want to put this. I said, well, the technology is going to be better in 5 years, and then I'm going to have crappy solar panels on my roof. And so they put them down to farmland, and the technology is going to keep getting better and better and better. So it doesn't make sense to put down technology that's going to become obsolete in 5 years. The maintenance costs are horrible. You got to send people out to maintain these things, and we're not the Sunshine State. We are a state where there's snow, and who wants to go maintain solar panels when there's snow all over them? Nobody wants to do that. No. It's not a fun thing. the future of solar right now, the hot part of solar is residential solar. And if you're a smart person, you would back that. All the innovations is going to be in residential solar, particularly through Tesla, because he's winning in multiple ways, right? If you saw, he's the first person to come out with a solar roof that's beautiful, which is what, again, people like beautiful things. Right.
This is a theme, right?
Yeah.
Anthony's theme is beautiful, big, beautiful things.
Right. So he has a beautiful solar roofs, and they add to the durability of your roof, and they provide solar, and they integrate with his other systems. He's already providing other systems to power your house through green energy. So he's onto something there. I think that technology, if you want to, I remember when Elon started Tesla, he said, go buy a Tesla if you want to support the future of electric cars, because maybe right now it's a little bit expensive, but if you support me now, the technology is going to keep getting better and better, and you're going to help me do great things for the world in the future. And he ended up being right. So I think if you want to do solar, go buy a green roof from Elon. I think that technology is going to keep getting better and better, and eventually it's going to be so good that you're going to see Tesla roofs on top of commercial buildings like my buildings. But the future of solar is on rooftops. It's not on farmland.
Yeah. Any other initiatives you're looking at that if you get to Washington?
Right. Well, so, I mean, really my number one priority by far is bringing people back. I want to look at bringing people back. I want to finish the, I think Elise did a great job with the Fort Drum, bringing the missile defense site to Fort Drum. I want to get that project done. I did a lot of great things during the last 3 months without like really meaning to do it. But, I got myself on record my positions are all on record over the last 3 months. And so I'm on record creating something called Trump for Peace. I created a marketing campaign called Trump for Peace. I did a video explaining my position on it. And basically I went out there saying President Trump's the most likely person to deliver peace, and world peace is a bipartisan issue. Everybody wants peace except for corrupt politicians. Everyone else wants peace. All voters want peace. Democrat voters want peace. Republican voters want peace. I just talked to a military person the other day, and they asked me what's my position on this, and they said I don't want to get sent away and to go fight crazy wars. That we don't need to fight. I think it's 2024. I think we should make war obsolete. The world's totally integrated now via the internet, via family relationships. It's not like 100 years ago where you had Irish people and Italian people and South American people. Everybody's got blood from different backgrounds mixed into there. So this concept of war is silly. I said President Trump is the most likely person to deliver peace. The reason he can do it is because he's the world's best negotiator. But in order to negotiate, you need tools to negotiate. You need to say, I have the best military and I'll use it to, do whatever I'm going to do to you. In fact, I loved what he did with Kim Jong-un. I don't know if you even saw this because it wasn't one of those things that really went viral. But when he was negotiating with Kim Jong-un, he made a video for him. I don't know if you saw this, but he made a video for Kim Jong-un.
I don't remember that. No.
And he said in the video, he imagined the future of South Korea, and he said if Kim Jong-un works with me, the South Korean beaches will be covered in hotels and casinos, and these people will be happy, and he'll be viewed as a great leader. Or he can mess with me and I'll drop a bomb on him and kill everyone. And then it said, and then the end of the video goes, which future will Kim choose for his people?
The North Korean. All right, North Korean beaches. Yeah. You said South Korean.
Sorry. North Korean beaches. Sorry,
all right. I was like,
sorry about that.
They're already there. Yeah.
I'm going. Yeah, sorry. The North Korean beaches. I got friends in.
It makes sense.
Sorry about that. I messed up. But
no, you're good.
Yeah. Anyways, misspoke. But anyways, he said, the North Korean beaches can be covered. He said he had these visualizations of the North Korean beaches covered in hotels and casinos, and he said, and Kim Jong-un will be the one known for this historic change to his country. He said, or he can mess around and I'll drop a bomb on him and kill everybody. He goes, which future will Kim choose? That was the video he made. And I was like, this is how you negotiate. Believe it or not, it's a principle in negotiation. When you negotiate with people, you want to give them the two most extreme options possible to make them really pick. So you say, you could be in paradise or you could be dead, right? And so we want to give President Trump tools to be able to negotiate, to deliver peace. I think it's obvious his overall objective is peace. I don't think he has any interest in people dying. Like if you look at the Liz Cheney hoax where they said President Trump wants to shoot Liz Cheney, when he said he didn't say that at all. He just said, Liz Cheney isn't the one going over there facing fire.
She hasn't experienced people pointing a weapon.
And so I think if you look at him and his comments, I think he cares a lot for our military servicemen. He cares a lot for the well-being of humanity, right? Not just war is bad for the world. It's bad for the human race. And so I think he cares a lot about people in general. And he's the most interested in delivering a peaceful world, but he needs tools so he can talk to these people and say, listen, if you mess with me, I'll drop a bomb on you. If you send bombs at us, we got missile defense systems. They're never going to touch us, but we can touch you. And so let's play nice and focus on building hotels and not focus on killing each other. So I'm a big fan of what Elise did. I think she did a great thing getting that project started. I want to get that project done as well. I want to help President Trump. But aside from that, I have something that
I was going to say, we've gone from stickers to missile defense. I mean, have we missed anything?
Yeah, no, what I would like to say is, I've been doing some interviews and people are like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And it's like, my position, I'm new to this, but, I expect my team, I expect people to be subordinate to the CEO, to the boss, because it's inefficient. I tell people, like, even if I'm not the best decision maker, it's very inefficient to have everybody chiming in with different thoughts about what to do. So my opinion is President Trump's the commander-in-chief. He has proven himself to be the best decision maker in the United States. He's the most informed person, but he's also the best decision maker in the country. So on issues that are relevant to New York State, I'll work on those. But on any other issues relevant to the nation, I want to support President Trump across the board. He's proven himself to be the best decision maker. I think it's wasteful when people chime in on things and say, well, I got to give an opinion on this. I got to give an opinion on this. Listen, the guy's the smartest guy in the country by far. I trust his judgment. They said, somebody said, what do you think about how he's going to handle Israel? I think it's up to him. I trust his judgment completely. I think he's going to look to resolve it peacefully, and I trust him to do it effectively.
Well, and on that note, I think that's a good point to stop it. Like I said, stickers to missile defense.
Right?
We haven't missed anything, right?
I don't think we missed anything. Nothing at all.
Anthony, I really appreciate your
Dave.
time today. It's been a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time, but for everyone watching, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Small Town Life.